everyone's Olympic experience, I'm guessing from Tokyo to Paris, must have just been so
Mhm.
different with the environment. But also, I think you were shouldering similar expectations from the outside heading into Tokyo and Paris. And I'm wondering if this mindset of pride and of wanting fulfillment out of your sport. You don't hear this a lot, especially coming off of an Olympics. I don't think we hear it enough, and it's so cool to hear you talk about it. But did your Olympic experience in Tokyo affect, and especially the experience of coming off of that performance, have an impact in maybe how you wanted to reflect and come off of this Olympics in Paris?
Absolutely. I left Tokyo so I don't wanna say ashamed of myself because that sounds really dramatic, but I was so disappointed in myself. I didn't enjoy my time there swimming. Like, I always say what I enjoyed the most was, like, spending time with my friends in my suite in Tokyo, and that's just because I literally hated being on deck because I was terrified every time I stepped into the blocks to compete. I felt these expectations on me, and I knew I couldn't live up to them. The only race I was really proud of from that meet was the 200 fly because I had no expectations on me, and as we all know, it's very easy to swim fast when no one expects anything out of you, when you have no pressure, when you have no prior achievements in that event. Um, so I was proud of that, but I wanted to be able to do well in events. Like, I wanted to be able to rise to the challenge, and the challenge of the expectations that I put on myself and that others had on me, and reaching the level that I had reached years prior in that event, the 100 back. And I didn't do it because I was terrified and I had no 0 self-esteem, didn't trust myself at all. I'd had a rough year of training the year before. My club coach, Mike, can probably attest to that. I just showed up to practice so upset every day during my gap year because I was ready to close that chapter of my life and move on and go to college and start that. So I was just juggling with a lot of unhappiness. And so then going from that, then I was so excited then to get to Stanford and, like, start something new and be super busy with that and be in a new environment. And I think then before getting to Stanford and I've never really talked about this, I guess. This is kind of something that I'm just realizing as I'm articulating this, but I have to wonder, like, I think I put so much pressure on having a great experience at Stanford that then when I got there and it, like, wasn't immediately what I wanted it to be, that just tanked my mood and, like, my relationship with the sport, um, like, even more. 'Cause coming out of Tokyo, I was just like, "Okay, what's next? Like, how can I redeem myself? I need to get back into the swing of things, like, ASAP," and not, like not clear my name, but just kind of, like, be better than I was, sort of, and have a fresh start there. And so then when Stanford I mean, for every freshman ever, freshman year's so hard. It's a hard adjustment, and I knew it was going to be, but I think also I was like, "This is gonna be great, like, I'm gonna find my groove and it's all gonna work out." And then it didn't, and I think that made me freak out even more because I was just like, I feel like I keep falling flat on my face with respect to swimming and my relationship with it and how I'm performing, how I'm feeling in practice. Um, and I didn't know how to pick myself back up, and I just didn't know what to do, and I felt stuck. So yeah, thinking about all of that, then going into Paris, having gone through everything that I've gone through in between then and now, I was so tired of like not of walking away from a meet and feeling nothing but disappointment. Because I even felt that after last summer when I again medaled in every single event at Worlds last summer, and it was my first year being under Bob. He and I were both trying to learn how my body responds to rest and his training. It was a big change, and I think all things considered, I performed very well, but I still walked away from that meet feeling so disappointed, and I had to have so many people in my corner kind of look at me and give me a slap across the face and say, like, "Give yourself some grace, like, for God's sakes." And so this whole past year, that's what I tried to do, was to just, like, celebrate small wins and be proud of my effort in practice every day and work on my, like, mentality, stepping up behind the blocks getting ready to race. Because as I've spoken before too, I would just choke. Like, I'd get behind the blocks and I was just like, I need to perform a certain way. And of course, when you try extra hard to do something, most of the time it blows up in your face. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to work smarter, not harder. And so that's what I was working on this year. And I also think that having mono and getting over that helped put things into perspective a lot for me. Like, it helped me realize, like, okay, I can have something really derail my progress and I can still be okay. Because my first meet after having mono, I went 203 in the 200 back, which again, a couple years ago, I thought I'd never ever do again. So to do that after having mono, I was like, okay, Reagan, like, you are talented, just keep working hard and the results are going to come. It does not have to be perfect all the time. Just focus on what you can focus on and control what you can control. So then, yeah, all of that boiling up into like trials this year and the Olympics as well. I just wanted to enjoy it. I truly did. I just was like, you cannot be disappointed. You can be frustrated with yourself if you don't have a performance that you want, but like how can you how can you win in ways that are within your control? Because with respect to my competition, I have no control over what the people in the lane are doing next to me and the insane things that they're accomplishing. I can only do what I can do. I have to stay in my own lane. And so even if I whip out an incredible time, an American record, a best time, anything, I could still get beat like I did. And so I did not want to let any of those things make me feel disappointed in myself. And like getting third in the 100 flat trials, for example, I think I could have so easily been crushed by that. But I literally, at this point, I refuse to allow myself to just because of my mindset going into the races, the way that I executed the races, how well I was able to perform under certain pressures. And I think those are such huge wins. And I think those help with longevity in the sport. Because I think if I had never changed my mindset, I would be wanting to quit really badly at about now. Because I could just sit here and think like, why can't I freaking win? You know, like why can't I win something? But that's okay, like, and I think that I'm doing so well regardless, and the times are showing, and I think my mood on deck is showing. I'm enjoying the process of, like, walking out in front of tens of thousands of people and, like, listening to them cheer for me and really, like, soaking in it and enjoying that, and enjoying, like, the moments that I get to spend with my family after the fact, and just kind of, like, enjoying the whole experience, whereas in the past, I would really just wish it away, and I'd want it to be over as quickly as possible because I hated sitting with those uncomfortable feelings of expectations and nerves, pressure, all that. So, I feel like my buzzword for my entire swimming career has been, "Oh, I just wanna have fun." Like, fun's been my buzzword, but I was never actually having fun unless I was winning. Then it was fun, but that's not sustainable because you're not gonna win all the time, and so I think that's something that I've had to change, and I appreciate you listening to me ramble for probably, what, like 5 or 6 minutes now, but I just have a lot of thoughts with it. So hopefully that all made sense, but I've never really talked about it for that long, so